The Constitutional Court will today rule on whether President Cyril Ramaphosa lied to Parliament with regards to donations made to his campaign for the ANC presidency in 2017. It will also decide if Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane had the jurisdiction to probe the so-called CR17 campaign. In a report in July 2019, Advocate Mkhwebane found that in answering a question in Parliament, Ramaphosa had deliberately misled MPs. The report recommended that Ramaphosa be investigated by the Speaker and the National Prosecuting Authority. It was initiated by complaints to Mkhwebane by then Democratic Alliance leader Mmusi Maimane and EFF leader Julius Malema. The report was, however, struck down in a scathing judgment by the Gauteng High Court in March 2020. The case was heard in November last year by the Apex Court, which will now deliver judgment. Well, did President Cyril Ramaphosa mislead Parliament in relation to the donations made to the CR17 campaign? Did the Public Protector have the scope to investigate the CR17 campaign? Our reporter Samkele Maseko is following that story, and he joins us now from outside the Constitutional Court, the second time this week that we're talking to you from outside this very important building in the democracy of our country. Samkele, what's happening today?
At this point in time, Desiree, what's happening is that Acting Chief Justice Ramaphosa will deliver a verdict of the Constitutional Court on whether President Cyril Ramaphosa deliberately misled Parliament when it came to that question which was asked about the 500,000 rands donation from African Global Operations, formerly trading as Busasa, to his CR17 campaign of the African National Congress. We do know that there was a scathing judgment by the North Gauteng High Court, which overturned that Public Protector report of saying that the president deliberately misled Parliament and that he must unseal all documents relating to the CR17 campaign, particularly after a complaint by then DA leader Mmusi Maimane, which was followed by a further complaint that the president breached the code of ethics of the executive by the EFF Deputy President Floyd Shivambu. Then the president took that particular report of the Public Protector on legal review, which was then set aside, which then prompted the Public Protector to then approach the Apex Court in the land, the Constitutional Court, to seek to set aside that particular ruling Gauteng High Court in order to uphold her Public Protector report that the president misled Parliament and that those CR17 bank statements must be unsealed. But the president also wants a verdict that the Public Protector, does she have the jurisdiction to investigate the individual of the CR17 campaign?
So far, what's happening today? To give us a sense of the detail, who has arrived and what's happening?
At this point in time, Desiree, there is no high-profile individuals that have arrived. I'm just going to step out of shot as my colleague Kwazi Manzi just shows you the Apex Court in the land. It's very quiet on this chilly morning here at the Constitutional Court, Constitutional Hill. There's not much activity. Court will sit and give judgment at 10 o'clock this morning on whether President Ramaphosa deliberately misled Parliament and whether the Public Protector does have the scope or the jurisdiction to investigate individual accounts. This issue of the CR17 campaign has caused a political hot potato for the President of the country and of the ANC, as the suspended SG of the ANC used this particular case of the CR17 campaign funds, bank statements to allegedly suspend the ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa as a member of the governing party. That matter has been ventilated at the South Gauteng High Court. Judgment will be given in a matter of time, or 2 or 3 weeks to come. They had said that that judgment would be sped up. And also the EFF has been campaigning and calling for this particular judgment to come. We do know that EFF leader Julius Malema, speaking in Pretoria last week, did raise the issue that this judgment has been not coming for the past 4 months, and they've been waiting, which is rather unusual when it comes to the Constitutional Court, which has a relatively quick turnaround time on judgments relating to issues of the Constitution that have been brought before this court. We do know that others were also raising questions that the Constitutional Court is quick to give judgment on the issue relating to former President Jacob Zuma on whether he is in contempt of court and what jail term he should be incarcerated with, which was given earlier on this week on Tuesday, where the former president was sentenced to 15 months imprisonment. And boom, a day later, the Constitutional Court says they will be delivering the judgment on this particular matter of the public protector, who's pretty much under fire in recent times and has lost a number of cases. And they is a process in the National Assembly to find out if the National Legislature can remove the public protector. So this judgment can also add to her own legal woes and troubles, as many people feel that she may not be fit to be the public protector of the Republic of South Africa. She has also said on a number of occasions that the president of the country, Cyril Ramaphosa, is not cooperative with the various investigations that the Office of the Public Protector are taking on. And it's not only the president who's not cooperating, it's also some ministers, in saying that some questions were sent to Minister of Health, who's on a leave of absence, Zweli Mkhize, who's not been able to respond to those particular questions of the public protector. So her fate is on the line today, but also the political fate of President Ramaphosa within the governing party, political imaginations. If this apex court were to rule that the president misled parliament, then processes of impeachment may then begin by calls by other political formations, by the EFF, to be instituted against the president for deliberately misleading parliament. If this apex court were to rule that he deliberately misled parliament, and also if it were to rule that the public protector has the scope and jurisdiction to investigate individual accounts of the CR17 campaign, it would automatically mean that the president would have to unseal those CR17 bank statements, and we would know which individuals got monies from that campaign of President Ramaphosa, which he says he used about 300 million rands to garner support and to pay for buses, to buy airtime, to ferry delegates to various provincial gatherings of the ANC and regional gatherings, and also branch meetings to coordinate their campaign for the 2017 ANC conference.
Pretty much like that judgment from 2 days ago that you talk about, this expected judgment today has such a polarizing effect, with some people agreeing that the president had a legal leg to stand on and wasn't compelled to disclose, and other people feeling as a leader he had a moral obligation to follow the Executive Ethics Code and disclose. Do we have even an inkling of a sense of how the acting Chief Justice will go, which way she will go?
Right here, it's a complex situation, because you've had the president in that parliamentary sitting which took place on the 6th of November, when he was answering questions, where he said that 500,000 rands was monies paid to his son's company for consultancy work Andile Ramaphosa was doing with African Global Operations, then trading as Busasa. Then 10 days later, you had the president writing to the Speaker of the National Assembly, Thandi Modise, out of his own evolution that he had not answered that question correctly, and then corrected himself and said, in fact, that donation was to the CR17 campaign of the African National Congress, and that it was not for his son's consultancy work as he had previously known. Then he had the president's confidante and ally and former president of the National Union of Mine Workers, when the president, Cyril Ramaphosa, was still the then General Secretary of NUM, that would be James Mkhwebane, who came out to the fore and said he had went to the late Gavin Watson to ask for a donation for the CR17 campaign of the ANC. It was not President Ramaphosa who went to Gavin Watson to ask for that particular donation, but it was rather his confidante and best friend, the founding president of the National Union of Mine Workers, James Mkhwebane, who did that. And essentially the president corrected his own answer to the National Assembly without being probed by any other political formation. But the conundrum then becomes, the Public Protector says in her report that 500,000 rands donation did not go straight to the CR17 bank account. It went to other intermediaries, which constitute allegations of money laundering, which law enforcement officers must then investigate. That is said in the Public Protector report.
Samkele, thank you so much for setting the scene for us. Of course, we'll continue to speak to you throughout the process.